đến 60 mm, có nơi trên 80 mm.
VOV2 văn hóa, khoa giáo, giải trí.
VOV2 từng trang của cuộc sống muôn màu.
Thể thao 7 ngày.
Thể thao 7 ngày. Thể thao 7 ngày.
Thông Đài Tiếng nói Việt Nam, thông tin tin cậy, tiếp cận thân thiện.
Threats against Vietnam and the U.S. assures Afghanistan of its continued support after troop pullout. Now for the news in detail.
Fighting COVID-19.
Fighting COVID-19.
Together, we fight COVID-19.
Hanoi on Saturday began 15-day social distancing under Directive 16 as COVID-19 infections spiked in the capital city. Directive 16, which includes the most stringent social distancing regulations, requires residents to stay at home and only go out for an emergency reason or for basic necessities, such as buying food or medicines, or to work at factories and businesses that are allowed to open. Masks are mandatory in public. People must keep a distance of at least 2 meters, and no more than 2 people can gather at public places or outside workplaces, schools, or hospitals. Non-essential services and businesses must close. Public transport, ride-hailing services, traditional taxis, and motorbike taxis are suspended. Hanoi's transport department said on Saturday that the city would temporarily halt delivery services as shippers could be hard to control and may spread the coronavirus. Hanoi has detected more than 660 infections since the fourth wave of COVID-19 hit Vietnam in late April. The government shares the difficulties facing Ho Chi Minh City and southern provinces and will continue to create the best conditions for these localities to combat COVID-19, said Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính at a teleconference on Friday. He noted that while top priority should be given to containing the pandemic, production should continue in areas meeting safety regulations. The Prime Minister said COVID-19 response measures should include prevention, isolation, supervision, vaccination, contact tracing, testing, and effective treatment. He emphasized that medical supplies must be ensured.
Tinh thần quan trọng nhất là ở đây các ông chí thu dung cái F0 và phân loại ngay cái F0.
We must categorize COVID-19 cases based on their health status so that we can focus more resources on the most severe cases. We must also stockpile enough respirators and oxygen for treatments of COVID-19 patients.
Prime Minister Chính also called for greater support for people affected by the pandemic.
Phải thành lập các trung tâm cứu trợ cho người dân, trung tâm cứu trợ cho.
There should be more support centers with a hotline for the affected people and businesses. It's important to let no one go hungry. The list of beneficiaries of the government's relief packages can be expanded if necessary.
Ho Chi Minh City and 18 other southern localities are imposing social distancing under Directive 16. Vietnam confirmed nearly 4,000 new COVID-19 infections on Saturday morning, including more than 2,000 in Ho Chi Minh City, the current largest pandemic spot of the country. The latest cases were also detected in 18 other localities, including Long An, Bình Dương, Tiền Giang, and Hanoi. Vietnam has reported more than 86,000 infections, including more than 83,000 recorded since the fourth wave of COVID-19 outbreaks hit the country on April 27th. Nearly 4.5 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been administered nationwide so far. 8 out of 62 pandemic-hit provinces and cities have gone through at least 14 days without any new cases, including Hải Dương and Quảng Ninh. The Health Ministry has issued an official document asking local departments of health nationwide to be ready for COVID-19 prevention and control. Vaccinated individuals accounted for 3/4 of Singapore's COVID-19 infections in the last 4 weeks, but they were not falling seriously ill, government data showed. While the data shows that vaccines are highly effective in preventing severe cases, it also underscores the risk that even those inoculated could be contagious, so that inoculation alone may not suffice to halt transmission. Of Singapore's more than 1,000 locally transmitted infections in the last 28 days, about 44% were in fully vaccinated people, while 30% were partially vaccinated, and just over 25% were unvaccinated, Thursday's data showed. There is continuing evidence that vaccination helps to prevent serious disease when one gets infected, the Health Ministry said, adding that all the fully vaccinated and infected people had shown no symptoms or only mild ones. Singapore has already inoculated nearly 75% of its 5.7 million people, the world's second highest after the United Arab Emirates, a Reuters tracker shows, and half of its population has been fully vaccinated.
And also more news. The government is expected to allocate $120 billion for public investment in the 2021 to 2025 period, according to a proposed medium-term public investment plan submitted to the ongoing National Assembly session. The number of investment projects will be less than 5,000 in this period, half of the figure between 2016 and 2020. The government aims to finish land clearance for the Long Airport project and complete the eastern section of the North-South Expressway and several key ring roads in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City by 2025. It will also invest heavily in infrastructure developments in the northern mountainous region and expressway and inland waterway networks in the Mekong Delta. The Office of the United States Trade Representative, or USTR, on Friday issued a formal determination in the Vietnam Currency Section 301 investigation, under which the agency will not take any tariff action against Vietnam. A statement by the USTR said that the move reflects the agreement reached earlier this week between the U.S. Department of the Treasury and the State Bank of Vietnam, which provides a satisfactory resolution of the matter subject to investigation, and accordingly that no trade action is warranted at this time. U.S. Trade Representative Catherine Tai commended Vietnam for its commitment to addressing the U.S.'s concerns with its currency practices and setting an important example for the Indo-Pacific region. Tai said American workers and businesses are stronger when their partners value their currency fairly and compete on the level playing field. She added that the USTR, in coordination with the U.S. Department of the Treasury, will work with Vietnam to ensure implementation and will continue to examine the currency practices of other major trading partners. All 6 Vietnamese students have won medals at the 62nd International Mathematical Olympiad held virtually by Russia, according to the Ministry of Education and Training. With 1 gold, 2 silver and 3 bronze medals, Vietnam finished 14th out of 107 countries and territories participating in the contest, up 3 notches compared to last year's event. Meanwhile, all 5 Vietnamese students competing at the International Physics Olympiad 2021 pocketed medals, including 3 golds and 2 silvers. In the tally, Vietnam ranked 7th after the Republic of Korea, China, Russia, the US, Taiwan, China, and Romania in the competition, organized virtually by Lithuania. With the last US forces on the way out of Afghanistan, US President Joe Biden on Friday assured President Ashraf Ghani of US diplomatic and humanitarian support as Taliban advances high pressure on the US-backed government in Kabul. In a phone call, Biden and Ghani agreed that the Taliban's current offensive is in direct contradiction to the movement's claim to support a negotiated settlement of the conflict, a White House statement said. Biden has set a formal end to the U.S. military mission in Afghanistan for August 31st, as he looks to disengage from a conflict that started after Al-Qaeda attacked the United States in 2001. Biden told Ghani the U.S. would remain engaged diplomatically in support of a durable and just political settlement, the White House said. Biden on Friday authorized up to $100 million from an emergency fund to meet unexpected urgent refugee needs stemming from the situation.
And now recap of the headlines. Hanoi enforces the most stringent social distancing measures to curb worsening COVID-19. The U.S. removes tariff threats against Vietnam. And the U.S. assures Afghanistan of its continued support after troop pullout. And that's the news from Voice of Vietnam.
Volunteers have become an indispensable force in helping Ho Chi Minh City residents fight COVID-19 since Vietnam's economic hub and biggest COVID-19 epicenter imposed Directive 16, which requires people to stay home except to buy food or medications or for an emergency reason. Youth volunteers can be seen at supermarkets, unloading trucks delivering relief supplies from across the country. Wu Hương reports. More than 100 students and lecturers from Ho Chi Minh City's University of Science have joined thousands of medical students carrying out testing at the field testing facility inside the military medical academy. Youth volunteer Nguyễn Thị Thu Huyền said students like her are applying what they have learned in school to help speed up COVID-19 testing.
Tại vì hiện dịch cho nên là tụi em ở nhà không lên trường được.
When I learned of volunteer recruitment for the COVID-19 fight, I immediately applied to join the force with my family support. Studying biotechnology has equipped me with knowledge about testing. Volunteers like me try to stay focused at work while implementing prevention measures. We are excited and nervous at the same time. 25-year-old Nguyễn Thị Hà Nhi is an active member of Nhất Tâm, a local volunteer group which arranges 3 buses to carry infected patients and people who have had close contacts with these patients to treatment facilities and quarantine areas. Nhi first participated in the group as a cook, preparing meals for people in concentrated quarantine zones. She then joined a group of 30 drivers transporting COVID-19 patients and became the only volunteer female driver in the group. Despite working until 2 a.m. every day, Nhi says she'll keep doing this until the pandemic is under control.
Y tế thì đang cần thêm, còn tôi là người tài xế thì tôi sẽ chở.
The medical force needs more vehicles. I can drive, so I don't mind taking COVID-19 patients to quarantine zones. We can't fight the pandemic if everyone is afraid of being infected, and I'm willing to lend a helping hand. Right after graduating from high school, 18-year-old Nguyễn Văn Thị Yến joined the Go Volunteer Group to collect test samples. She said many of her peers want to shop and cook food for people living in lockdown areas.
Em thấy vui, trước khi mà em vô á, thì em cũng đã suy nghĩ rất là nhiều.
I decided to join the volunteer group to help people in need, despite the fact that I might easily contract the virus. For the past month, the kitchen at the Ho Chi Minh City Youth Social Work Center has been preparing 4,000 meals a day for workers at the city's checkpoints and quarantine and lockdown areas. Most of the volunteers have been working, eating and sleeping at the center since the first day Directive 16 was imposed. Võ Quốc Bình at the center said more than 30 young volunteers are working at full capacity to deliver meals to every corner of the city.
Về cái tinh thần các bạn cũng phải nói là đang rất là tích cực thực hiện cái.
Every volunteer is working hard to help Ho Chi Minh City control the pandemic. We all hope that we can soon return to normal life. Welcome to VOV's Weekend Music Session. Songwriter and music producer Huy Tuấn is a prominent name on Vietnamese music scene. He and his close friend, famous Vietnamese songwriter Anh Quân, formed Brothers Band in 1993 and performed in many musical events in Germany, Russia and Poland. The two returned to Vietnam in 1997 and collaborated with Diva Mỹ Linh for a series of albums. Tuấn, along with Anh Quân, have since become a main songwriters and music producers for Mỹ Linh songs and albums. Tuấn once said that his best songs are sung by Mỹ Linh. Here is an example. Let's enjoy I Still Sing. The song is the official soundtrack of the 2015 Vietnamese film Green, which centers around a beautiful Hanoi-born young woman who underwent many trials and tribulations in life. The song is just one of many songs that Huy Tuấn has written for films. Next is a song Tuấn wrote to promote a project on HIV/AIDS awareness for young people initiated by the Ministry of Health in 2008. The song, performed by many eminent singers, is also our farewell to you, dear listeners. Enjoy the rest of your day and goodbye.
trao cho ta yêu thương hạnh phúc. Mỗi khi ta buồn vui có nơi mẹ chờ che. Hãy nắm lấy cánh tay cần sẻ chia. Hãy đến với trái tim nồng tình yêu. Trao cho nhau yêu thương hạnh phúc.